I just this romance. It's so good. Hey everyone, how you all doing? Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought it would be super fun to do a spooky Halloween-y reading vlog. So I've picked out 3 spooky-esque books to read in this vlog and I'm so excited to talk about them. So I only have 2 of them here with me physically because the other one I'm going to be reading from the library. But the first book is The Glass Witch by Lindsay Puckett. This is a middle grade book that comes out October 18th, so tomorrow as you are watching this video, which is so exciting. So all I know about this book is it's combed as Hocus Pocus meets Dumplin' because there's like a Halloween pageant. It's a super short book, so I know that I'll be able to fly through it really quickly, so I'm super excited to get to this one. I've been anticipating it for years, so this one's going to be a lot of fun. The second book that I'm going to be reading is Angelika Frankenstein Makes Her Match by Sally Thorne. This book is basically like a Frankenstein reimagining almost. We follow Frankenstein's sister, and while her brother Victor Frankenstein is making his monster, she decides to try to make her perfect match because she's kind of at that age where she's supposed to be getting married and she's like teetering on like being too old kind of, and she like wants the town to stop gossiping about her basically, I think. So I'm super excited about this one as well. I loved The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, and this is a bit of a different story from her, so I'm really intrigued to read this one. And then the last book that I'm going to be reading is Small Town Big Magic by Hazel Beck. This is an ARC copy that I have, but it came out in August. So all I know about this one is our main character owns a bookstore and she is a witch, but she has no idea that she's a witch, and that's basically all that I know and kind of all that I want to know going into it. I'm so excited about this one. It kind of gives me the X-Hex vibes just because it takes place in a small town, there are witches. It just gives me the best vibes, so I'm super excited to get into this one and hopefully I love it. But yeah, so those are the 3 books that I'm going to be reading in this reading vlog. I hope you guys are excited. Make sure to subscribe down below if you have not yet already. I'd really appreciate it, but let's just get right on into the vlog. I'm on page 117 of The Glass Witch and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's cute and it's charming. It definitely does give the vibes of Hocus Pocus. We haven't seen too much of the Halloween pageant yet, but I'm assuming we're going to see more of that later on in the book. I'm just over halfway through the book, so we've still got tons of story left to go. It's also almost giving me like Halloween Town vibes as well, and I don't even know if there's like a specific reason why. It's just kind of the vibes. There's also just a little part where they were like gathering like potion supplies, like they're trying to do like a spell, and that kind of gave me Halloween Town vibes because a big part of the plot of that movie is like gathering supplies to like make a potion to save Halloween Town. And so that just kind of gave me similar vibes. It didn't last very long, but for the duration of it, I was like, Halloween Town. I'm loving the atmosphere in this. I love Cranberry Hollow. I wish that I could move there. The Halloween aesthetic is spot on. It's definitely putting me in the spooky Halloween mood. I also think that this would just make a really cute movie, so I hope that it gets made into one day because I think it deserves to. I definitely think I'll be able to finish this book today. It is 11:30, but the book seems to be flying by pretty quickly. When I was reading at Tim Hortons earlier today, I was getting a little distracted. It was very loud in there and I didn't have any like headphones with me to listen to music or anything, so I found it kind of hard to concentrate, but I still managed to get most of like what I've read today read while I was at the Tim Hortons. So I can only imagine how much I'll be able to read when I'm at home with way less distractions going on. So I'm very excited to continue, very excited to kind of see how they're gonna break this curse that's going on. But so far I'm like really enjoying myself. It's such like a cute little story. I love middle grade. There's just something so magical about it, and I think that Lindsay Puckett has a beautiful middle grade voice. Like I really feel like these characters are children and it's just so much fun. So I'm gonna get back into reading now, which I'm super excited about. just finished The Glass Witch by Lindsay Puckett, and I really enjoyed this book. It was super cute, super fun. I really loved the setting of it being on Halloween and it taking place in a 24-hour period, much like Hocus Pocus. Definitely felt the Hocus Pocus influences within this book, which I enjoyed. Again, I also get those Halloween Town vibes, just again like in the structure of the story, because that one also takes place, I believe, within 24 hours, and I don't know why, but it just gives me very similar vibes. Halloween Town kind of reminds me of Cranberry Hollow. I definitely think the Halloween Town is a good comp for this book, even though it's not an official comp. I just kind of tacked it on there, but I like it. Dumplin', I do see as a good comp, but the Halloween pageant actually doesn't take up that much page time, so don't go into this book expecting for the Halloween pageant to be like a big focal point like it is in Dumplin'. I think I was expecting it to maybe take up a bit more time, but it was still enjoyable nonetheless in the way that it actually was presented in the story. But yeah, definitely the great Halloween vibes were here with Hocus Pocus vibes and the Halloween Town vibes that I got. So I loved the entire atmosphere of this story and just the way it was told. We also got the point of view of our villain, which was really interesting, and I knew that at one point because I know that Lindsay has talked about that in videos before. I just completely forgot about it until I was reading, and then I was like, oh my god, right. So that was really fun. My battery is dying, but I really enjoyed this story. I loved Addie and I loved all the feelings and things that she was going through. She dealt a lot with feeling like she wasn't good enough for her family and felt like she didn't belong and like her family didn't like her, didn't want her around. She felt like they were trying to abandon her, and I really loved that part of her character and her story. Overall, it was a really cute, whimsical story. I loved the messages of body positivity in this as well and the kind of arc that Addie went through. Overall, this is a solid middle grade book, and I think that children are going to be obsessed with it and it's going to become like a Halloween classic for children. It's so much fun. It was just overall a very, very fun, good time, and I'm so happy that I finally read it. I will talk about tomorrow what I'm going to be reading next, but my battery is seriously about to die, so I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, so I started Angelika Frankenstein Makes Her Match last night and I got up to page 108. I don't even feel like I was reading it for very long, so it seems like it's going to be a very quick and fast read, which is good because it's currently September 30th and I really want to finish this book this month. So that means I'm going to have to read like basically all of it today, which shall be interesting. But I do find Sally Thorne's writing like very easy to like kind of just fall into. It's just a very easy kind of writing style to read. So far I'm really liking it. The romance is sort of happening quickly, but like not really. Like there have been a few moments, but like the love interest is like really resisting it, which like makes sense because Angelika literally brought him back from the dead, so he's grappling with a lot of different feelings. Obviously he wants to know about his like past life and like what he left behind, and also this is like set in like the 1800s, and so Angelika's brother Frankenstein, Victor Frankenstein, keeps telling the love interest his temporary name is Will because they don't know what his actual name was. Victor keeps telling him like, oh, if you sleep with my sister, like that's it, like you're stuck with her, you have to stay with her. And so he's like, I'm not gonna do that to you, I don't want to be stuck with you forever. So he's like really resisting the romance, but there have been a few moments and I gotta admit it's kind of cute. I also just really like Angelika as a character. I like Will. I'm very intrigued to know more about his life and like what happened to him, and you know what his life was like before he died and was turned into a Frankenstein's monster. Also, I have not read Frankenstein and I have not seen any Frankenstein adaptation, so I quite literally know like nothing about the original story. And I know that Katie from Katie is Reading recently read this book and she did a vlog for it, and she was talking about how like you can see the story of Frankenstein like unraveling in the background in this book because Angelika's the main character in this one, so Victor's story is kind of taking a back seat obviously. So I think that if I had read Frankenstein that would be kind of cool, but since I haven't, I literally don't know what's happening with Victor, so maybe this will like encourage me to want to read Frankenstein one day because I've never really had much interest in it. But so far I'm really enjoying this book. Also, I have not like looked at this cover too closely, I guess, because I did not notice that Angelika at the bottom there is holding like a sewing needle, and then up above the love interest Will is like being sewed together. And like I noticed that detail after reading that part in the book, and then I was like, oh, like I love that. It's so cute. I'm like, I don't know, I'm really enjoying this so far. I'm excited to continue. I'm hoping that I love it because I would love to own a copy of this because it is gorgeous. Although I would be buying it in paperback because this is like $36 Canadian for the hardcover, so definitely would be buying it in paperback. But I'm very excited to continue. So I think I'm gonna do that later tonight because like I mentioned, it is September 30th, which means I need to finish doing my bullet journal spreads for October. So I think I'm gonna focus on doing that, and then I will return to this in the evening. Okay, I'm on page 159 now, and I'm really enjoying it. But honestly, like, I'm kind of scared to find out how this book ends. I'm not even, like, halfway through yet, but I'm like, you know, most romance books, you know, end with a happily ever after. It's a convention of the genre. But I'm kind of like, how are they gonna end up together? Like, how is this, like, an actual thing that can happen? I'm assuming it happens. But there's also kind of another love interest happening right now, kind of. I mean, Angelika still very much so has her sights set on Will, but there's definitely somebody else who is interested in her, and I'm just kind of like, what's happening? Like, what's going to happen? I don't know. Like, is this going to be a romance book that doesn't end with a happily ever after? I mean, I'm assuming it does, but like, is it going to be a happily ever after for Angelika and Will, or for Angelika and this other dude? Or just for Angelika herself. Who knows? I'm very intrigued to continue. I'm very much so enjoying it. The vibes of it are quite fun. So, are you kidding me? It's too cute. But yeah, I'm gonna continue reading. It's still my hope to finish it today. It's currently at 10:16 though. So I don't know how well this is gonna go, but I'm going to try to finish this today. I'm now on page 256. I don't know if you can hear Joey purring, but he's being very loud. But I'm on page 256 now. And I honestly don't have anything to update on. I'm still kind of feeling the same. Still don't quite know how this is gonna end, if I'm being quite honest. A little worried, not gonna lie. I'm a little worried. Are you worried, Joey? You worried? You have no idea what I'm talking about. That's alright. So yeah, I'm actually gonna go take a break now and eat some food because I'm hungry. I'm gonna have some Fruit Loops. It's my nightly routine. It's 11:40 currently. Pretty close to the end, and this is a pretty quick read, so I'm pretty sure I'm still gonna be able to get this done tonight, even with my little food break. So that is the plan currently, which I'm very excited about. And yeah, I'm very intrigued to get to the end of this book. What about you, Joe? Are you intrigued? Do you want to know how it ends? Do they end up together, Joey? I don't know. I'll let you know when I know. I'm on page 265 and something just happened, and I'm kind of scared for what this means, like what this discovery is gonna mean for the rest of the story. I'm I don't know what to do. This is wild. What's gonna happen? I have no idea. Oh my god. What a plot twist. Okay, so I've now finished Angelika Frankenstein Makes Her Match, and I actually really enjoyed this book. Like, I was tearing up at the end, and I didn't realize that I was that invested in the story, but I guess I was. The ending of this book did have me scared. I thought it was going to go one way, and thankfully it did not, because I was not ready to actually cry. So I'm very happy with the way that the book actually ended. Also, when I was watching Katie from Katie's Readings vlog, when she was reading this book, she mentioned that Mary Shelley kind of makes an appearance at the end, and I completely forgot about it until like it clicked, and I was like, oh my god, like I remembered. So clever. I don't know why, but I'm obsessed with it. I also really enjoyed the letter to Mary Shelley that Sally Thorne wrote at the end. I don't know if that is included in every edition of this book or just the hardcover. I have no idea, but there is a letter included to Mary Shelley at the end, and I really enjoyed that as well. Basically just Sally Thorne talking about how during the pandemic she decided to play around with Mary Shelley's characters a little bit and essentially write Frankenstein fan fiction, which I just kind of find hilarious. And I don't know, like, it was just so much fun. I loved the setting of Blackthorn Manor, and just knowing that Sally Thorne actually has a dollhouse that she used to model Blackthorn Manor after. I don't know, this book was just like so clever and interesting and fun, and I really enjoyed the journey of it. It's not a favorite. I definitely like her other book, The Hating Game, way more. It's like one of my favorite romances, but I was quite invested in this one, and it was a very quick and easy read. I basically read all of it today, so I definitely do recommend it, especially if you like Frankenstein. I'm assuming you would enjoy this. I haven't read it, like I said, but maybe you would enjoy it. I don't know, it was just a really fun time, and I'm really glad that I read it. Okay, so I've read the first chapter of Small Town Big Magic, and pretty much my only thought is that the beginning of this book had a lot of info dumping. Like, I feel like we just got the name of everybody in town and like the backstory of like the main character's connection to each person. It was just a lot of information all at once in one chapter. Like, I'm only on page 26, and I just feel like we learned about everybody in town, and I don't remember barely any of it. So I don't know, it just felt like a lot of information. I don't know if it actually was or if I'm just tired. Like, I don't know what's going on, but it felt like a lot of information. But beyond that, I don't really have any thoughts. I'm very intrigued by the premise of this book, which I just read again to refresh my memory, because I don't think I've actually read the full description on the back here before. But it's basically about our main character, Emerson, who owns a bookstore in this small town. We love that. And she's a witch, but she doesn't know that she's a witch because she failed a power test years ago, and she was stripped of her magical memories. So she has no idea that she's a witch, has no idea that all of her friends are witches, and she doesn't even believe in like magical stuff. But then she's attacked by a creature, and then finds out that the last decade of her life has been a lie, and I think they have to like save the town somehow. She has to like learn how to control her magic, remember her magic, and deal with complicated feelings for an old friend, which is the part that I'm really excited about. So yeah, I'm sure that like once I get into the book, I'll like understand everything better, but like considering that was just the first chapter, I feel like some of that information could have come later instead of all just kind of being thrown at me at once. But I'm going to jump back into reading now because I would like to read a good chunk of this today, and it's already 10:30 at night, so I've got a lot of reading to do. Okay, so I'm on page 87 now, and the like inciting incident has happened now. It's mentioned in the second paragraph of the description where she's attacked by a big monster, and I'm enjoying it so far. I've definitely like gotten used to the characters a little bit. I'm vaguely familiar with who everybody is. Like, I feel like I know like the core people. It'll probably take me a while to get used to like the friend group because there's quite a few people in it, but I feel like I know it well enough to like read the book. Obviously, like, I'm not like overly confused as I'm reading. I'm very intrigued by the romance between our main character and her friend Jacob. We haven't like really seen that much between them. We just know that like she has feelings for him and has had them kind of since high school, but like they've been friends, and she didn't want to like wreck anything by like admitting feelings or whatever, but because she had her memory wiped of her magic, she's kind of like wondering if maybe something did happen and she just doesn't remember it. So I'm also very intrigued to know, and I kind of hope that something did happen and she doesn't remember it, because I feel like those vibes and that dynamic could be really, really fun, of like he knows what happened but she doesn't. So I'm kind of really hoping that that's the case, but I just have a feeling that I'm gonna really like the romance. It's like childhood best friends to lovers, and he's also kind of like, not a grump, but she like describes him as like not smiling very often, and I just love those vibes. So I'm excited to continue reading. It's now 11:20 p.m. I think I'm gonna go get a snack before I continue reading, but I think my goal will be like at least page 130, but I would like to get farther than that. But I'm enjoying it so far, and I'm kind of excited to learn more about the magic system and learn more about these characters and get more into the relationship. I'm very intrigued. Okay, so I'm now on page 152. I know I said that I was just gonna try to get to page 130, but I hit 130 and it was still like in the middle of a chapter, so I just kept going, and now I don't want to stop. So I think I'm gonna continue reading, maybe try to get to page 200. I don't know, I'm kind of very tempted to try to hit the halfway mark in this book. I don't know, I just kind of want to get some more answers. I kind of want to know what's going on a little bit more, and I also want to minimize the amount of reading that I want to do tomorrow, because I want to finish this book tomorrow and I have a lot of things that I need to do tomorrow. So the less that I have to read tomorrow, the better, but it is also currently past 12:30 in the morning, so I shouldn't stay up much later, but I'm going to continue reading because I'm really enjoying myself. Just really want to know more about what's going on. I want to try to get a bit more into the relationship, like the romance, because we've gotten like some inklings of some things and I just want to know more. I just want to know everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump back in and, like I said, try to get to page 200, but I don't know if that's gonna be possible without staying up too late, so I guess we'll see. I am somehow now on page 230, and so many good things have happened. Romantic tension has risen and is continuing to rise, and I'm all here for it. Like, I'm getting all of like the warm tingly feelings that I always get when I read romance books, and it's making me so happy. So I really should not stay up to read this book because it is 1:38 in the morning. I still have quite a bit left to go, like just under half of the book left to go. And while I do have a lot of other things I need to do tomorrow, like filming a video hopefully and writing, things that like I need to like be awake for early-ish, I probably should not stay up and read this. But like, if I don't have to worry about reading this tomorrow, then like maybe it's not such a bad idea to stay up, you know? I'm also not feeling like that tired, probably because I'm reading this and I'm really into it, so I think I'm gonna at least stay up for a little bit longer. And I know that is probably going to quickly spiral into me just finishing this book. But you know what? That is a risk that I am willing to take at this point, because I just feel like I want to know what's going on. I want to see how the romance continues. So yeah, I'm gonna stay up for at least a little bit longer, but we all know that means that I'm actually just gonna finish this book tonight, so. Okay, it's almost 3 in the morning. I'm on page 324 of this book, and as we all predicted, I'm just gonna stay up to finish this book because at this point, you know, there's not that much left, so what's the harm, you know? I need to finish this book because I'm enjoying it so much. Like, I feel like I'm definitely enjoying the romance aspect of it more than the actual like witchy plot part of it, although I'm also enjoying that. But this romance, it's so good. It's like soulmate kind of stuff, and I'm obsessed with it. It is, oh, it's making my heart flutter. I am obsessed. I'm having such a good time. Like, God, I need to get back to reading. I just really felt like I had to make an update, but I am loving this so much. I just finished Small Town Big Magic. It is currently almost 4 in the morning. I am 100% gonna regret this in the morning, but I've just finished Small Town Big Magic, and I did not realize that this is like the first book in a series. I'm assuming it's like a duology, kind of like companion book situation, because I got to the end and things were not concluded and I was like, excuse you. So I did a little research, went on Goodreads, you know, as you do, and there's another book, and I'm like reading the description of it and I'm like, oh, wait a second. The second book in this is not told from the point of view of Emerson, who is our main character in this book. It's told in the point of view of her sister Rebecca, and I don't know how I feel about that, partially because I am so attached to Emerson in this book and her love interest that like I just don't know how I feel not being in their heads. I don't know, especially since like this isn't necessarily like a complete story, you know what I mean? Like usually when you read like companion type books, each is their own story, but it seems like it's a continuation but just in a different point of view. Don't know how I feel about that. A little nervous. It comes out at some point next year, but I'm also nervous about it because we barely get to see any of Rebecca in this book, and the stuff that we did get to see from her, I like wasn't obsessed with her or anything. Definitely wasn't expecting for there to be another book in her point of view. I mean, as I was getting to the end there, I figured that like there might be another book because it just kind of seemed like there weren't enough pages to like tell the story. So I was like, either this ending is going to be incredibly rushed or there's another book. So in that aspect, I'm glad that there's another book, otherwise this ending probably would have made me mad. But that aside, and my reservations about the next book, I really loved this book. Like I became so invested in it, particularly in the romance. Like I already mentioned, I love Emerson and Jacob so much. Like the ending had me feeling all of the things, like all of the things, heart fluttering, just it was so good. And now I'm just worried that like in the sequel we're not gonna like see as much of them, and I'm just like so sad about it. But again, we're not talking about the sequel right now. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. The magic was fun. The plot, like I said, is not like my favorite thing in the world. Like it was still fun, but like there's just other plots that I enjoy more. Like if I didn't like the romance in this book, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as much, or if I didn't like the characters in general, I probably wouldn't have liked it as much, just because I'm such a character driven reader and a romance driven reader. Honestly, if a book is meant to have a romance, then I'll totally cling on to that, and like that's what I want to focus on. Yes, like I enjoyed the plot. Like it was enjoyable enough. I was invested in it. I wanted everything to be okay. I wanted the town to be okay and to like make it out all right. I was invested. I really liked this book. Mad that it's like a series and I didn't know that, because I did not prepare myself to not get the full story in this book. But that's a fault of my own, not of the books. But I really loved this. Another complaint that's not like an actual complaint is this book takes place like in the spring, and I thought it was going to be taking place in the fall. I'm all about the fall spooky books right now, and like this did have like all the good vibes of like a witchy like fall read, just taking place in the spring. Like I said, not an actual complaint of the book, but just like every time they mentioned that it was spring, I was like, no, it's fall. Don't lie to me, it's fall. And then also not a complaint, but the love interest had a beard, and I don't love beards, and I feel like it was not mentioned until like over halfway through the book. Maybe I just missed it in its first few mentions, but like it was mentioned past the halfway point and I had to pause and I was like, wait, he has a beard, because that's not how I was picturing him in my head. And I still am not picturing him with a beard because I hate beards. I thought that was funny because that's totally not how I was picturing him. Not like I really have like a clear vision of what he looks like in my head, but like definitely not with a beard. I'm not a beard girly. I don't like beards. Anyways, I really loved this book. I'm really glad that I read it. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this spooky Halloween-y reading vlog. I'm so happy with all 3 books that are read in this vlog. I know I don't have Angelika Frankenstein with me right now. I had to return it to the library, but I thoroughly enjoyed every single book that I read in this vlog. I'm thinking right now that Small Town Big Magic was actually my favorite. I really enjoyed this one. Like, I think it's gonna be like a yearly reread for me. It was just so much fun. But I obviously also loved The Glass Witch, and I really enjoyed Angelika Frankenstein, and I just had a lot of fun with this vlog. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a huge thumbs up. Comment down below and let me know if you have read any of the 3 books that I read in this vlog, or comment down below and tell me about your favorite book to read in like the October spooky season, or tell me what spooky book you are currently reading. But yeah, subscribe down below if you have not yet already, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!